hello everybody! I'm
Hey
Kunagusis.
everyone, my name is Icarix and he's Kunagusis. Don't listen to what he says, listen to what I have to say.
Yeah, no, just ignore him. He's basically an American.
I am not American.
Well, you were after complaining about how you sound so American just there.
Yeah, well, screw you.
Dear viewers, see, he spent quite a bit of his life in America, so, as he feels, unfortunately, he still has apparently a lot of American influences in his speech, which he is working to undo, but it is proving quite difficult.
He was in America for the first 5 years, from 2011 to 2016. Those were good years. It was at least stable. But I was there for the last half, and that's when everything went to shit. So, yeah.
Yes, well. Sop stories aside, we are in our battle with the CENOMANI. Our top-tier Carthaginian army versus this CENOMANI army.
Ooh la la.
See how those Gallic swordsmen in their leather.
Ooh, nice leather.
And their chainmail.
What kind of leather is that actually?
Well, leather is probably like, you know, cowhide.
Oh, I just assumed that each faction had their own sort of leather on them. I don't know.
It's just leather armor.
Alright then.
But yeah, it seemed like historically Gauls, Celts were using leathery armor. And then they were probably using it for quite some time, and then a lot of the nobles were started to use chainmail by the probably 3rd, 4th century BCE. Been reading the Celtic Warfare book, read some last night. So yeah.
What are we trying to defend here?
Well, we're not defending, we're attacking. We are outside Bibract in Gallia. We are attacking the CENOMANI army, an army from practically the CENOMANI. We have an army that's besieging Bibract, and that was largely also to stop the garrison from sallying out to assist this army. So it is a one-on-one.
Oh, arrows away now.
Well, lead bullets, because we have slingers, they have archers.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, being flanked on all sides, going in for the kill.
Is we're moving our troops around, our elephants and our cavalry. We have Atlas elephants in this army. And our cavalry is a mixture of Numidian, Libya-Phoenician and Iberian.
Nice combination.
Our spear infantry is 2 units of Adgenios Lankia, our elite heavy Gallic spears, and 2 Libyan Threo spears. And our melee troops is a mixture of Apulians, Iberians, Ligurians, Venetans, and Libyans.
Alrighty then.
Had a good look at the unit cards prior.
Oh, there we go now.
Yes. So we have our Libyans fighting there against those Gallic spears.
Seem to be making a decent stand.
It's against the Ambactos.
The Ambacti are pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, Ambacti are really good, but this is a unit called Ambactos, not the Ambacti.
Is there a difference?
Well, the Ambacti that we're often going on about are those dudes right there, those pretty top-tier swordsmen.
Yeah.
The Ambactos are just a fairly solid spear unit that Gallic units have.
So basically, one specializes in the swords and the other spears, basically. Or long
Yeah, they're
swords.
different units. They just have a similar name.
Sure, you'd think Imbactus would be like the plural for Imbacti.
Well, no, because we're not dealing with English.
No, that's
Ambacti,
that was my first assumption, but I figured it wasn't.
Ambacti is a Latin plural of Ambactus, I'm pretty sure. And Ambactos would probably be a Greek or Gallic singular. So the plural would probably be something like Ambactoi, potentially, but I wouldn't be too certain. I'd have to check.
And here comes our Atlas elephants.
Yeah, well, first our Arios Epones are attacking.
Ardios Impure. Is that it?
Arios Epones.
Who are these guys exactly?
Ardios opponents are elite heavy Iberian cavalry.
So do they use spears or long swords? Or
They would have swords and probably lances.
Oh, okay.
Here we have our infantry attacking. Our tall Celtiberian nobles slaughtering those Gallic swords, or spearmen.
Nice short work of them.
Yeah.
Oh, they're getting tomato sauce all over the place. That's probably a good sign.
But yeah.
Oh, shit, that's nasty.
Yeah. But yeah, so I've been reading my Celtic Warfare book, and it's been interesting. Currently on about the 3rd century, the developments in the 3rd century. So we see chainmail being developed, and it's also where we start seeing the sword being used more widely. Celts were known for their long swords, and it appears that by the 3rd century there was a bit of a shift where a lot of the lower classes were starting to get more involved, particularly a sort of middle class. I believe that a lot of the Celtic swords that were prone to bending probably belonged to that middle class.
Do you think they would have used the swords beforehand? Or before the
Well,
third
because
century?
swords are expensive. Swords are expensive. And also take quite a bit of skill to use, so oftentimes they're reserved for upper classes who can afford to not only acquire a sword, but to have the time to get the skill up. And so if you're often somebody, and you're talking about a time period when most times armies are full of people who equip themselves, so spears are cheaper and easier to use, so more people are going to fight with spears. It appears that when you had a burgeoning middle class, people who could afford to use swords, they did get to have swords made, but they probably weren't as high quality as what the nobles were using. So those swords were prone to bending.
Makes sense.
Ancient sources seem quite eager to talk about how Celtic swords were prone to bending easily. But on to the battle, it has, well, turned into a rout. We have shattered the enemy and we're just picking up what's left.
Yep, they're definitely running for the hills.
Yep. I mean pelted by our lead bullets.
Both figuratively and literally. Figuratively and literally running for the hills.
Yeah.
Oh, we have more elephants now, ready to pick up the remaining leftovers.
Yeah, well, we've 2 units of elephants in this army.
A deadly combination.
Yep. It's kind of how I like to do things. I'll build an army that's phalanx heavy and thus has 1 elephant. And then I'll build an army that doesn't have phalanx units and I can just squeeze in 2 elephants. That's how I do it when I play as Carthage or the Seleucids.
We have the Landes, is that what they're called?
Adgenios Lankia.
Ah, right. I can never get these names.
Because I don't think you're used to Latin or Greeky names, or Gallic or whatever. There's a variety of languages being used here. But I think a lot of Celticians, their names are going to be in like Gaulish or Proto-Celtic, as much as they can use them.
I'll forever be ignorant.
Parasim Libi Punim.
Or just generally hopeless.
Well, you'll eventually learn, especially with my supervision.
Yes, indeed.
You know, I'll make sure to drill it right into you.
Not literally now, right? It's important you don't mean literally.
We'll just have to see. But anyways, it is a decisive victory, but it's only taking about 350 losses.
So the battle was over in pretty much one fell swoop.
Yes.
What do they mean they can't?
And so we said, see if we could assault Bibract. Hover over the auto-resolve.
Not worth it.
And indeed it was not worth fighting. it seems. Although I'm not so sure now in hindsight.
Why?
It could have been fun to fight it in some way. And probably would have taken less casualties overall. So I decided to raise the settlement.
My God, man, have mercy.
Well, I did provide a little bit of mercy. I just raised it, didn't sack and raise.
I guess they'll just have to take what they can get.
See, I have so much money, I feel. At least I have enough money. I don't think I need to sack and raise anymore, or as much.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah. So now we are building it in our Carthaginian image.
Sure, I'm sure that'll go down smoothly.
Well, we'll have to see. We're trying to convert a settlement with 99% Celtic culture into one with sufficient Punic culture.
Nemesis.
Yeah, Nemesos, actually. Nemesos. That's the capital of the Arverni.
We're going up against the heralds of
Doesn't
the
matter.
garrison army.
It's the garrison army with a general included.
And I see we decide to stick around for this one.
Yeah, and it's a complete field battle.
Ooh.
Sometimes when you
Right,
attack
so who do we have here now?
Balearic slingers, Libyan
And
Thoreo
Baxi.
spears, Geisatai. We've got some Geisatai.
Libyans.
Yes. We have our Geisatai is our other spear unit, so our naked Celtic spearmen. If only we had Semon's Dong submod at this time. That would have been fun.
Alright.
See them in their full glory.
Any elephants handy on our side?
Of course. We have two
So what kind
units.
of army is this? This is like the which one was this again? You mentioned there was one where you had a specific army and you could get 2 elephants. But
This is the one with 2
you,
elephants because I've got 4 units of spearmen and no phalanx troops, no hoplites.
Ah, right, yeah. That's what I was wondering.
So we have 2 units of elephants, both which are Atlas.
Ah, right.
But
Oh,
yes.
they're
well,
converging now.
yeah, we're moving up. But yeah, if we had the Dong somewhat at this time, be fun because then we could see the Geisatai in their full glory. Full naked glory. Well, probably our next campaign will definitely feature that mod.
Oh, goody.
In fairness, I think there was a bit of a thing where Carthage's Geisatai were not affected by that submod, but that's been fixed.
I'm going to assume those were leads.
Yeah, probably, because it's Balearic slingers we have.
Led away. Right, so who do we have here now?
Variety of Gallic mercenary, Gallic auxiliary garrison troops.
Oh, they're already falling back now. That's no good news for them.
Yeah, so I suppose in some of his viewers, you'd be delighted that we are treating ye to 2 battles.
Oh, spears away. Form it. I don't know, they look like spears.
Javelins, I think.
Right now.
They're javelins.
Oh, javelins, right.
Javelins
away.
throwing spears, yeah. But yeah.
Let's go with javelins. I don't know, they also kind of look like arrows as well, based on like I can see little directional arrows on them or something. I don't know. That's just
Kind
what
of
arrows
Markers, yeah.
Or markers,
Projectile trails. Yeah, I think actually the upcoming update will change how arrows look, and apparently it's recommended to turn off projectile trails.
Seems kind of redundant to me. I mean, like a separate update just to
No, the new DEI upcoming patch will include changes to arrow textures.
seems seems kind of redundant to me. I mean, like, why make a separate update just to change the look of it? I don't know. Because
Well,
it's so it just seems so minor. Do you know what
as
I
I
mean?
said,
Like,
it's part of a broader patch.
do you know what else this patch will include?
An overhaul to the Scythians. It'll also include, I think, some various visual changes to some barbarian units.
I don't know, man. Those guys right there look pretty well suited already.
It's
I mean, like,
some adjustments and changes, better quality textures. Also changes to the Atlas elephants, and I think Atlas Carthage, Atlas elephants, and the Seleucid armored elephants.
I've never seen your troops light a bunch of fires before. What's the purpose
Those
of
are
that?
burning pits. They're things that are part of like defenses.
No, I think this is my first time seeing them in action before.
Yeah, because I think I don't normally use them when this is because they're part of the garrison defense thing.
Oh, your guys Satai are heading straight forward. Who are they again?
Some mercenary Gallic tribesmen, I'd say.
Yeah, those guys.
And the Libyan Thoreo spears are moving in.
Your javelins are pretty much useless at this point. They're not really doing an awful lot of damage.
Well, in fairness, they are being thrown right at the front where the shield can block.
Mm.
It is a thing when you're attacking units with projectiles. One of the worst places to attack them is right at the front.
Really?
Because their shields can block it to a certain extent. You'd want to hit them at their right side or their back.
I guess that makes sense,
because
yeah.
the shield cannot protect there.
Oh, going all out there.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up good bit of defense there.
Your Libyan Thoreo swords are fighting hard.
They just keep pushing, but none of them will budge. This calls for some backup. What do you think?
Our elephants are charging in.
Speak of the devils.
How would you rate that charge?
Probably a 4. They could barely get through that blockade. Sure, like, to the enemies, I'm pretty sure they would be the devils themselves.
Whereas you have to consider the fact that Gauls would have certainly not been exposed to elephants.
Actually, yeah, that's also a valid point as well.
That is, I think, one of the things that apparently helped the Seleucids at the so-called Battle of the Elephants against the Galatians was the fact that they had elephants, and the Galatians were not used to elephants.
Yeah, that is a fair point.
Argoi. Yeah, I think they're a shield wall unit with the Gauls.
What's with the early inside the brackets?
Basically,
What's
it just
that supposed
means
to mean?
they're an early version of the unit. When their reforms kick in, the NATO's reforms, they'll be changed to a later version.
Oh, okay.
So when the units have early and late, it just means that there will be another version of that same unit. Rome has that for their early game units. The Hastati, Principes, Triarii, Equites, they all have an early and a late.
And is this something that the developers add in later themselves, or is it something that happens later in game?
It happens
As
later
in
in the game
already
when
built?
reforms trigger.
Ah, right. Okay, that makes sense.
So when the NATO's reforms kicks in, which is what barbarian factions have, most barbarian factions, Celts, Iberians, Germans, what happens is certain units that are classified as early will become a late version. You just get various changes. Yeah, the battle is nearing its end. We are winning decisively.
Yes, they must be shitting their pants at this point.
Oh yeah, they're starting to waver. And now the general's even routed.
Well, they're screwed.
Indeed they are.
They're screwed on tighter than a nut bolt. That's just something I literally just made up.
Of course. But don't you make up.
That's right, dear viewers, I tend to spout an awful lot of bullshit.
What else is new?
Nothing. Nothing is new.
Yes. Well, here we are. We're, I'd say, nearing the end of the video now, as this battle is wrapping up.
Sure, they didn't even put up much of a fight if you ask me. They were dead the second they stepped foot on that field.
Well, you are dealing with a garrison army with only just a general's bodyguard against a pretty experienced, I would say, and pretty hardy army of quality units and shock units.
Well done. You have spilled blood in battle for the first time.
Yes, woman, we get it.
And there we are. And decide to
Even worth the
occupy.
trouble.
We gained an Imperium level.